Welcome to Helping Hands. This is where we celebrate the people and organisations across Australia who make the world a better place. Coming up today,
people who come in just for the records, people who come in for the books.
We visit an op shop.
Well, hope is everything. When you're not feeling great, that's what you have, is hope that you'll get better.
The panel talk about hope, and we invite you to connect at helpinghands.tv. Across Australia, there are hundreds of op shops that serve the local community by selling pre-loved goods to people looking for a bargain. Many years ago, the op shop was a place to buy cheap items and knickknacks for people on lower incomes. The role of the op shop has changed, and today they serve as a place to buy retro and bespoke items with character and purpose.
Over 30 years I've been working in the op shop. It started off quite small and now it's a very popular shop.
We're just setting up the outside veranda. As people come in, something will catch their eye and hopefully we'll sell it. Yeah. We've got a Top Gear set with all the cards and the sticker book and everything, but we also have all the little cars for the kids. They're 50 cents each or 3 for $1. Beautiful pictures here for sale. Outside we've got the plants, and we put out bigger items like children's ride-on toys, suitcases. Come in here and just make sure everything in here is set up. We've got our money box. We have our little small change jar, which the money from this goes to the help organisation in Bangladesh. We put all our 5-cent pieces in there, and our customers always, their spare change, they'll pop in there. I'm Anne, I'm the op shop coordinator. I have to make sure everything that comes in is sorted. It's a matter of just everyone who works here, of making sure that when they're here, they're enjoying what they're doing. We have about 20 volunteers. They're all lovely people, and all just giving their time to something they feel is worthwhile, as an opportunity also, especially the ones who live around here, to mix with the community, you know, to talk to the community. Hello, how are you?
You okay? I give the donation for the kids.
Yes. Yeah. That was lovely. Yeah. Thank you. Every January we close for 4 weeks to restock and get our breath together. So this is the first day, so we expect a lot of people in today to come and see what they've missed out on.
It's the cheapest shop in town. There's no other shop like this one. Oh, more than 20 years. I love this shop. I can't wait till it opens. Come early and wait out there so I can grab a bargain. I buy toys for my grandkids, clothing, stuff for the hospital, Westmead Public. And I buy some crockery, cutlery, mugs, whatever. Yeah, and stuff for my home as well.
This is the bric-a-brac plus Manchester and such, and this is the end result. When we sort our bric-a-brac, it's sorted in a small kitchen area there. We price it there, then we bring it through and put it into these different shelves depending on what it is. Flower vases clearly there, which are all different sorts, and these are coffee pots, teapots, and if you want to learn to keep calm, this is the one you buy. Keep calm and carry on. They look like they're strange in their pricing sometimes because some might only have $1 or $2 on. This one has 5 on it, but it's a Mikasa. It's a crystal one. This one here is all 20 cents. So these are little bits and pieces that we can't put as sets, or they're a little worn, but some people might come and they might have the dinner set at home and they're missing a plate or they've broken a plate, so they'll come and sort through these, and that's quite often filled their set. So they're all 20 cents a piece. And then we have our glassware here. We get some really interesting bric-a-brac in here. So it's a doorstop. And sometimes they create a challenge as to what to put on them, but it's only $1.
There's more to come on Helping Hands.
People who just come in to spend 20 minutes chatting to someone who'll listen, just to keep up with what's going on.
I'm very well, thank you.
I'll go and get them.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Well, that's a lady that lives up the street. She sometimes gives me bits of cuttings and plants to propagate on, sort of thing. So she just asked me now if I wanted some coleus. And she's got some that are struck. And I said, yes, thank you, because I've got hundreds of pots at home. They're all little succulents, they are. And they're quite popular at the moment. A lot of people are having little succulent gardens. This one's called a Mexican hat, and this is mother of many thousands. This is donkey's ears, and it grows up like donkey's ears. That's a little horn cactus, and that one I think is called Medusa's head. And then, of course, I like the geraniums. They add a bit of colour to your garden. I had a birthday yesterday, and I got 2 Bunnings gift vouchers from my family. Potting mix is quite expensive, and then there's the rooting powder, and there's the sea salt and the fertilisers and all that sort of thing. It all mounts up. But then again, as I said to my family, if I went to the club and paid the pokies or played golf, it would cost me just as much. Over 30 years I've been working in the op shop, but it's changed dramatically over the time, you know. It started off quite small, and then it got bigger, and then they did renovations and remodelling and all that sort of thing, and now it's a very popular shop.
It's been running since 1974. We open 2 days a week now, Fridays and Saturdays, 9:30 to 1. We have a great assortment of customers. We have a big subcontinental Asian population here. So we have a lot of Indian ladies, Sri Lankan ladies, people who come in just for the records, people who come in for the books, people who just come in to spend 20 minutes chatting to someone who'll listen, just to keep up with what's going on.
Over the years, I think it's become more a community thing, and it's like a family. So the sorting team on a Tuesday, we call it our therapy session, because we come, we laugh, we cry together, we talk about things. So it's a real therapy session, as we call our sorting time. But then my customers that come in, they are people that just somehow find people to talk to. And it makes the community part of us. For me, it just is very fulfilling, working and being able to help someone, especially at their worst time of their life. I think probably the one time I remember is I was out here and there was a lady who received a phone call that her father had passed away, and she just dropped the phone, burst into tears, and it was lovely to be able to give her a cuddle and make her a cup of tea and then take her home, because she'd walked here. And she comes back quite frequently now. She's become quite one of our regulars, and I'm not the only one that's got stories like that. Most of our volunteers would have special stories to tell of people. The connection it's made with the community out there, it's just immeasurable.
I came to buy the plates for the hospital. They're very good quality. I've seen a set there which is called Noritake, and that's worth like more than probably $500. I'm going to show you these dinner plates. Look at this now. That's Noritake. Japanese make. This, what you find on the table here, should be a few $100s. And for $1 a plate and 50 cents for a small plate, man, you're laughing. There's always something different here. It's never the same, you know.
Thank you very much. Glasses, that's your plates.
There's never been a day where I've come here and not bought something.
If you are a helping hand or would like to see a helping hand from your local community featured on this program, visit our website and be in touch. We'd love to hear about the people and organisations across Australia who are making the world a better place.
It's wonderful to see a community coming together around the op shop and the many people who benefit from this work. Visit helpinghands.tv to find out more about the Wentworthville op shop by clicking through to the Helping Hands directory. Welcome back to Helping Hands. This is where we celebrate the positive contributions of people across Australia who make the world a better place. The panel joined Laura in the studio to discuss hope. What it is, where does it come from, and what does it mean when something is hopeless?
Thank you so much for joining us. With me on the panel today, we have Brooke Prentice, a Waka Waka woman and Aboriginal and education consultant. We've got Raewyn Elsgood from Sports Chaplaincy Australia, and also Graham Cowan, one of the founding board directors of Are You OK? Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Laura. Brooke, tell us, what does it mean to you to have hope? What does that look like?
Hope means so many different things to me. I often paint a vision for our nation, for Australia, for an Australia that we build together, all peoples of all cultures, but an Australia built on truth, justice, love and hope. And so it's a vision that I can see is possible when we all work and walk together. And hope's a big part of that. But it actually comes there at the end with the truth, justice and love is what actually brings us hope. And I think for Aboriginal people in particular, hope can be a bit of an interesting concept. You know, in the face of disadvantage and injustice, it's sometimes really hard to hope. And I think sometimes non-Indigenous people and Aboriginal people have a different perspective of hope. I think sometimes for non-Indigenous people, hope gets wound up into optimism. And yes, Aboriginal people want to be optimistic, but also there's so much injustice and disadvantage that we face and are barriers to overcome. And I love the words of Desmond Tutu, who said, "I'm not an optimist, but I'm a prisoner of hope." And sometimes we think about prisoners as being locked up, but I think the hope is so important. And I think it's really important to think about hope if you are with someone who's marginalised, disadvantaged or facing injustice. Because if we don't face the truth that's right in front of us, then you can delay that person's hope. And so to really listen with love and compassion, and I hope on an individual basis, family, community and nation basis, that we embrace truth, justice, love, and that's what will bring us hope.
It's a beautiful perspective. Raewyn, how would you define hope?
Yeah, I'd go straight to Ted Lasso and say, I believe, you know, I am an optimist, but I look for people's examples in their storytelling to be able to find hope sometimes. I have a faith, so I find hope there. But when I walk into a locker room of an NRL team and they have a Ted Lasso picture of I believe at the end of their physio table, you know that they're trying to impact a hopefulness. When you look at hope, I go, well, people are hoping something is going to happen for the good. Yeah. And I suppose in a sporting context, we all hope we're going to win. So for me, it's looking at, well, I need to believe I'm going to win to have that hopefulness.
Yeah, and how important, Graham, is that idea of hope, I suppose that belief that we're going to get to where we want to go. How important is that for people who are in challenging situations as much as the people that are alongside them in those situations?
Well, hope is everything. When you're not feeling great, that's what you have, is hope that you'll get better. But the other thing to really remember is that the longer our mood spends in the red zone, the more we lose hope. And so it's really important in that sort of situation that those around you are hopeful and perhaps remind you of previous times when you were in good shape, when you were enjoying, the company of others and what you were doing. So it goes both ways, that we have an obligation to be hopeful ourselves and do things that bring hope, like, exercise and meeting with family and friends, but also look out for those that are down in their luck or down on their mood and provide some hope for them.
And we can feel hopeless, we can feel like our situation isn't going to get any better, but are there truly any situations that are hopeless? What would you say to that, Raewyn?
Yes, in our mindset there is. I would say I feel hopeless because right now I just lost the game. But it's only a moment in time. Would you agree? Hopelessness is a moment that can change. And hence, I'm only hopeless in that moment, and there will be hope for the next game to be able to win it.
So is hope just a matter of perspective? What do you guys think about that?
I felt hopeless. I had a really long 2-year episode of depression, and I was 110% convinced that I wouldn't improve, wouldn't get better. And what the important message that came out of that from me is, when others are feeling like that it can change. You have to keep being hopeful, taking little steps of doing the right thing. And if you do that long enough, you'll find hope again.
Is that what pulls you out, those sort of disciplines?
Yeah, well, it was exercise and reacquainting with family and friends was a really important element. It really does help come things back. But during that period when I couldn't look after myself, my parents looked after me, and it was their hope, their love, their encouragement that got me through it.
It is difficult, right, to know how to support people, what to do. Brooke, what would you say as a piece of advice for people? How do we help people find hope? What does that look like?
It's really hard as an Aboriginal person when there is so much structural inequality that's been set up over our shared history as a nation over the last 250 years. And so I want to validate Aboriginal people's sense of hopelessness, because it's not just something that's within our control. There's lots of structural inequality and structural racism that exists. And you might have that little bit of hope, and then it's taken from you from things outside of your control. But I think, again, this is where non-Indigenous people actually understanding our true history of the last 250 years and what Aboriginal people's lives are like today, but that we are a people who, our cultural bases are generosity and hospitality, and to see that in us and reflect that back to us, and that we're the world's oldest living continuing cultures, we can probably tell you a lot about hope and especially resilience. And I think that's probably what keeps me going, is the example of our Aboriginal leaders of the past, their resilience, their never giving up, and passing that on to the next generations. And so I think about those who've inspired me, like William Cooper, Pearl Gibbs, Sir Pastor Doug Nicholls, Eddie Koiki-Mabo, and so many others. I think about today's some of the senior Aboriginal leaders in my life, Auntie Jean Phillips, Uncle Reverend Graham Paulson, Uncle Dr. Pastor Ray Minnicon, and then they're handing it over to the next generations. And so it's the leadership, the resilience, the adaptability, and what we can learn from those great leaders that have gone before us.
And if some of those names we don't know, we should go and look them up,
Absolutely.
Be inspired by them as well.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Really do appreciate that. I know some parts of today's conversation may have been a challenge for you, so if you do need to talk to somebody about your mental well-being, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Thank you for being with us.
If there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed on Helping Hands, visit our website and be in touch. We love talking about the things that make the world a better place.
Do you agree with our panellists? Did you agree with their view on hope and that there is always hope? Head over to our website and social channels to see the extended conversation on this topic. Throughout my life, I have worked with many people who find themselves in situations that can be described as hopeless. One thing that I have found is that there is usually a way forward for people, and hope is the one thing that we can all hang on to. It does require a response from us to see the opportunity and look for a way forward.
Let us know about the Helping Hands in your local community at helpinghands.tv. Send a photo or a short video and tell us about your local heroes in 25 words or less.
Thanks to Laura and our panel for bringing their expertise and giving us something to think about. We would love to see you on our social channels this week and for you to tell a friend about this program and join the Helping Hands family. See you again next week.